Hey everyone, so today's video we're back in Ruins of the Gods. So I made a video about a week or two ago talking about ancient relics, how to one key those with specific teams. A lot of it revolved around, Divine Yolanda, Holy Yolanda. I forget what her actual name is. I always call her Divine Yolanda or Holy, Holy Yolanda. But this team right here, Divine Yolanda, Cordelia, Guan Yu, and then X character that procs joint attacks, whether that's Vengeful Hassle, whether that's Fahim, whether that's Flarence. The world is your oyster. I've talked about how these two are specialists in yesterday's video, and that's why they're amazing. But I didn't touch on boss teams. So I'll go in and show you a boss team, but I do want to talk to you about a premier team, but I don't want to show you it here today because it contains a limited character, and that's Aaron. Now, Aaron and Mave are fantastic heroes, especially together, but a lot of people will not have Aaron because it was only during the 1-year anniversary where they did the Attack on Titan collaboration. But I am going to show you a team here today, which is also pretty good. It does involve Barclay and Hyunwoo, and then it will involve a A5 Aaron. But if you don't have A5 Aaron, you replace Aaron with Mave. And you do need to have her A5. The reason is on the A5, Aaron and Mave have the same exact trait, where they will launch a joint attack based on the amount of rage that they have, which is pertaining to negative debuffs on the boss. They'll then use their ultimate ability, and then it reduces the ultimate ability cooldown of all team members, which is really important. The reason why this works, let's just talk about that trait real quick. I just passed them. So, as you see on Aaron's trait, it says gains 1 rage each time a team member applies negative effects. At max rage, it consumes all rage and launches a bonus attack with his ultimate, and then reduces the cooldown of all team members' ultimate abilities by 1 turn. And this is only once per round. So his ultimate, he brings in every single person, and then they do a joint attack with their basic ability. So this is really strong. So reducing the ultimate cooldown of Barclay is important. Reducing the cooldown of the ultimate on Hyunwoo is not important because you basically have Hyunwoo's basic attack going because he launches so many basic attacks anyway, which then triggers his ultimate ability. So you don't need to have Hyunwoo's ultimate loop back around. But the reason why that's important with Aaron is because Mave also has the same thing. So if you get enough attacks off and you're looping this ultimate ability from the Awakened ability to reduce ultimate ability cooldowns, you're basically doing this ultimate every single turn with Aaron, and that's why that team is so strong. So whenever you have Mave and Aaron, you're reducing ultimate ability cooldowns. You're also prolonging negative effects, and this kind of works extremely well with Barclay because you're exploding the bleeds in a sense off of his passive here. So his special, whenever a team member attacks an enemy with bleeding outside their turn, it triggers all bleeding effects. So you just do a lot of damage with the damage over time here. So you're using Barclay, Hyunwoo, at least in this team composition, either Mave A5 or Aaron A5. And you can use this team even if you don't. It's still going to be good. Like if you don't have A5, it's okay. It's just at its maximum potential with this. So if you're not getting the same kind of stats that I'm getting, it's because of that. So instead of Mave in this composition, and again, you replace Aaron with Mave if you miss the Attack on Titan comp. We're going to use Matson. So Matson is also a really nice support. The problem with Matson over one of the other two heroes I just mentioned is he has Ignite and not Bleed, so you're not getting the full advantage out of Barclay. But what Matson does is he brings this Vampiric Touch, which allows you to lifesteal. So the composition that I was talking about, the Mave and Aaron composition, you need to run everyone in Revival because you don't have any heals. Matson allows you to have this Vampiric Touch up the whole time, and you're gaining all of your health back because you're getting so many different attacks. So that's the team I'm going to show you today. The talents also matter. Remember, you get these talents by achieving these ancient tiles. If you kill these ancient relics, you have the ability to get these talents. Thunder Punishment is very good for most ancient relics. It's also really good for other boss teams as well, but for this boss team, we're actually going to be running Kiss of Death because we're putting up so many negative effects on the boss, so we're just going to be able to trigger this basically every turn. We are using Holy Hourglass to prolong the fight to 15 rounds. Blood Curse is very good against the mini bosses, but this is not a mini boss, so it holds no value. And then this one restores 15% of max health. This is also an option, but because we have Matson in our team, we're able to get that life steal. So those are the talents that we're going to use, and we're going to go in and I'm going to show this team off for you. What I will say is my I guess my knowledge of this boss, turn orders and all of those things are nowhere near as good as other people that specialize in guild versus environment. So if you guys are specialists in this area, do not hesitate to comment and let the rest of the community know on what the best course of action is. But I'm just going to slot these in and I'm going to show you the type of damage that this can do. So we're going to go in against the boss here and we'll talk about this damage. So Barclay puts up the bleeds at the beginning here. We actually got resisted on the defense down, which is a bit of a bummer, but I'm just going to go in ultimate. But this is where you're putting up bleeds. This is just triggering Barclay's passive. It can't trigger more than 10 times around. Like I said, you aren't going to actually ult on Hyunwoo because all of these bonus attacks, he's actually going to end up going in and ulting anyway, and it's at max rage, so that's where he's getting most of his damage. Here, this is where Matson puts up the Vampiric Touch, and then on top of that, he is putting up Ignite, so it's additional damage over time, and it's also additional Kiss of Death negative debuffs on the boss. Here, Barclay will use his ultimate as well, and he's going to bring in Hyunwoo to do the joint attacks. He's also in Resonance set to possibly proc Hyunwoo to come in and do additional damage. So here you see the Hyunwoo took some pretty good damage, but he healed right back up because of that Vampiric Touch. And we're going to be triggering, so we already triggered Aaron's trait for this turn. So we're getting all of these bonus attacks, bonus damage, and as you see, we're just kind of jamming against the boss here. This is basically the composition, though. I will say, at the end of the video, we will show some of the stats. It's basically a lot of just damage stats all over. You do have Aaron in Revival. If I wanted to run this comp at full efficiency, I would take him and put him on damage gear. Same thing with all of these heroes, just because you have all of the healing from Vampiric Touch, which will always be up. So the thing that you want to avoid is this stun. So this can actually be resisted, and this is another, I guess, letdown on my side in showing you a non-max potential team here. Is you don't want anyone to get stunned because you're missing out on all of these bleed over time damage effects. This comes from Barclay's passive, so all of those things add up over time. Is just a lot of damage, And if he is, stunned, you're still getting that, but you're missing his ultimate ability to bring in Hyunwoo for joint attacks, and then Hyunwoo's basically doing his ultimate all the time too with max rage. So you want to have enough resistance on your team to make sure that you can resist that stun, and you need around 100, 120 just to be safe. But I didn't want to really move around gear. I just wanted to talk about the potential of this team and show the damage. All of your damage is coming from Hyunwoo and the bleed damage over time passive ability from Barclay. So once we get to a certain point here, the boss puts up a shield. You got to try and break the shield with enough damage. But I'll show you at the end of the run, how much damage we actually did from this team. And hopefully this helps you guys, progress even further in guild versus environment with your specific guilds to get to those higher levels, because, they have some pretty good rewards here. And they got legendary books, they got Stardust, epic books. So that's the whole reason for making these videos, is to hopefully help you guys, progress further in the game. So anyway, we'll speed this up and I'll catch you at the end. All right, I'll see you in a bit. So a couple things to note here, actually, as we're getting close to the end of the round. I did not have Hyunwoo's skills turned off, so I didn't even follow my own advice, so I apologize for that. We did break the shield, but another thing I noticed is whenever Barclay is controlled, like whenever he's stunned, you actually don't get the damage over time bleeding abilities like proccing. So that's another reason why you need to have enough resistance on your Barclay to make sure that you resist that stun. But we ended up breaking the shield, so that's very good. We should have some pretty good damage on this team, even though it's not the max potential one, with your resistance and having damage on all of your heroes. And also not using Mave with Aaron. But I did want to bring a team that hopefully everyone would have access to eventually. Not that you have all of these heroes right now, but this is just one of those compositions. There is another team that I'll probably show tomorrow, but this one is definitely one of the better ones. These guys are just kind of best in class, in guild versus environment boss teams. So let's see what we finish up with here. Close to the end. Okay, so there we go. So about 20 million. So 20 million on this team when you're not using Mave and extending the bleeds. So the overall recording is a little different whenever the shield is involved. So we'll actually take a look at this boss and see what the actual damage was here. Yeah, so 24. So, not bad. If you're taking a look at the other team, though, with Mave, you just see how much more damage it's actually doing. So it's almost double, which is pretty nuts, just because the extension of those bleeds really maximizes the passive from the Barclay. This guy probably has, the ideal kind of sets for revival with damage, and enough resistance and stuff like that as well to make sure that none of his damage is mitigated. So my team performed okay. I didn't even utilize the rage spell. This was just a full auto team to let you know of the potential, of this guild boss team. So anyway, stay tuned for the one tomorrow. We're probably going to showcase this one, the one with Abaddon, which is a free farmable light and dark legendary, which is great for instances like this and guild boss. So we'll touch on this team tomorrow. But I think the only thing that I wanted to show you before I left was gear. So Barclay, once we find him, here's Barclay's gear. He's in Resonance set to proc the Hyunwoo, so he has a little bit of damage in him. Enough sustain where he's not getting killed by the boss, but here his resistance definitely needs to be higher so he can avoid that. He does have enough focus to land bleeds. Hyunwoo is fully booked. He's the only one that I believe is fully booked. I don't think Aaron's booked. So fully booked, 15 out of 15. And then he does have the A1 Ascension for the attack. He's in just broken gear. But his stats are 176 crit rate. You definitely want to stack as much crit rate as possible on Hyunwoo because it transfers into attack, and the transfer amount is actually really big. Then he has some pretty good crit damage, and then speed. The speed is for Queen of Tides, but that's irrelevant. So I could stack even more attack damage. I could put him in Assassin set if I wanted to on this team composition. But like I said, if you're running Aaron and Mave, you want everyone on Revival. When it comes to Matson is in broken sets, and he has a little bit of crit rate. He's got enough focus to land his debuffs, and then just enough health and sustain to make sure that he stays alive whenever the boss is attacking him. And then last but not least, we have Aaron, who is actually built for that premier team with Mave. He's in Revival gear. He does not have any books, and he is A5, so he is unlocking that ultimate ability, reduce cooldown, but his stats are here. So he has enough resistance, but he's not the one being targeted. So anyway, that's all I got. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you on the next one. See ya.